The addition of small amounts of fluoride to water can help in the fight against tooth decay. This is little Suki, who really likes to eat sweets, so she eats a lot of sweets. But one day she found that her tooth hurt. The thing on her cheek, it might look like a tumor, but it's supposed to be a toothache. Anyways, the cause of her pain? Cavities. Young people such as Suki have a high sugar consumption but aren't very diligent about brushing their teeth, so they end up getting a lot of cavities. Generally, people that should, be extra careful about their teeth are children, adolescents, seniors, and adults who have or have had gum diseases. Of course, that's not to say that everybody else shouldn't be careful. Amazingly enough, there are around 600 different species of bacteria that live in the mouth. 600 different species. Of the many different bacteria species, one of which that damages teeth is the Prevotella histicola. Well, that might be cutifying it a bit too much. So how about this? The Prevotella histicola generates acetic acid, which is mentioned many times in a chemistry textbook, and lactic acid. And those two acids damage the tooth enamel. When people don't brush their teeth, plaque starts to build on the teeth, and bacteria thrive on those plaques and build acids with the plaque. And the acids, which I mentioned before, decay the teeth by removing calcium and other minerals from the teeth. So the tooth decay starts off at the enamel, which is the hardest tissue in the body and is inorganic. From the enamel, the acid works its way into the dentine, which is less hard than the enamel and similar to bones in its make. And the final destination is the pulp cavity, which is made up of tiny cells and blood vessels, and it nourishes the dentine. Suki could have avoided cavities by brushing her teeth properly, and with the help of small amounts of fluoride in water, which can help fight against tooth decay. Fluoride in drinking water can help prevent tooth decay by up to 40 to 60%. That's pretty darn amazing. You ask why? It's because fluoride helps teeth to remineralize. After you drink fluoridated water, the fluoride absorbs into the surface of your teeth through your saliva. And once absorbed, the fluoride attracts other minerals like calcium. And the new tooth mineral that is created by fluoride is even stronger than the previous tooth mineral. Now, looking into the scientific part of it, teeth are generally made up of hydroxyapatite. And hydroxyapatite is also known as hydroxylapatite, which is also known as phosphate mineral, aka calcium hydroxide phosphate. The formula is more commonly written like this because a crystal cell of hydroxyapatite is made up of two entities instead of just one, thus the 10, 6, and 2. So hydroxyapatite is the structure that forms bones. And with the help of fluoride, the mineral that's created is fluorapatite, which is made up of calcium, phosphate, and fluoride. And regard here this beautiful fluorapatite crystal. It's taken as a micrograph, and this calcium fluoride phosphate crystal was grown in a laboratory for research purposes. And they found that as this crystal grew, it changed from a hexagonal form to this spherical form. So, fluorapatite is created when the fluorine displaces the hydroxide. Actually, since water is typically fluoridated with fluorosilicates or sodium fluoride, which is added in the final stage of the water treatment, this would be the more correct equation. So using sodium fluoride as the method of fluoridation, hydroxyapatite and sodium fluoride react to produce fluorapatite and sodium hydroxide, or perhaps something like that. Fluorapatite is much stronger against the acids that cause tooth decay. What happens is that the fluoride decreases the rate in which the bacteria can create acids by slowing down the rate in which the bacteria can consume sugar. Another reason that fluorapatite is stronger than hydroxyapatite has to do with the size of the fluoride and hydroxide ions. A fluoride ion is smaller than a hydroxide ion. If you remember the section about ionic sizes from the beginning of the year, as a fluoride ion is smaller, the force of attraction between calcium and fluoride is greater than the attraction between a calcium and hydroxide ion. So it's good to drink fluoridated water and brush your teeth 3 times a day with fluoride toothpaste. The American Dental Association estimated that for every dollar invested in water fluoridation, $38 is saved in dental costs. So not only do you strengthen your teeth, you can save money, apparently. Of course, you shouldn't overdo it with the fluoride because too much can lead to deformed bones, trouble moving, and eventually death. Fluoride is generally important for healthy teeth and bones, but of course that is only in low concentrations. When fluoride is added at 1 ppm, 1 parts per million, it is relatively safe for humans, and it reduces dental caries by 40% to 60%. The MAC, which is the maximum acceptable concentration, in Canada is 1.5 milligrams per liter, or so according to our science textbook. At higher concentrations, fluoride can be seriously dangerous. Not only will the teeth actually start decaying with too much fluoride, the body will also experience dental and skeletal fluorosis, osteoporosis, and there will be damage to the kidney, muscles, and nerves. Skeletal fluorosis occurs when the body has been exposed to a high concentration of fluoride for a really long time. What happens is that the fluoride increases the density of the bones, as well as accelerating the growth of osteophytes. An osteophyte is a small bony outgrowth, indicated by the arrows there. And these changes to the body lead to stiffness and pain in the joints. Bone fractures also occur more easily with high doses of fluoride, because as the volume of the bone increases, the strength of it decreases. Another damage done to the body by fluoride is enamel fluorosis. Enamel fluorosis looks like this, and is permanent if it develops in children 8 years and younger. There are even concerns that fluoride may aid in causing cancer, AIDS, and perhaps even lower the IQ of children. And then there are those fluoride activists who are against mass medicating a whole society. So there's been lots of fighting about whether water should be fluoridated or not. So, not all places in Canada fluoridate water. In Ontario, 75.9% of people have access to fluoridated water. In Alberta, 74.7% have access to fluoridated water. In Quebec, it's a measly 6.4%. In British Columbia, 3.7%. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, it's 1.5%. Even if we don't drink water specifically fluoridated at a water treatment facility, we still intake fluoride because fluoride exists naturally in water. Then there's the fluoride in toothpaste, mouthwashes, and foods as well. By foods, I mean processed food that has been made with fluoridated water. Oh, and did you know there are even fluoride pills? Well, nonetheless, in the last 40 years, the amount of fluoride that's been put into our water has been almost halved. Health Canada reviewed fluoride and they decided that 1.2 milligrams per liter of fluoride was good. But then 10 years later, it was lowered to 1 milligrams per liter. And then in 1996, it was lowered to 0.8 milligrams per liter. And then in 2008, it was lowered again to 0.7 milligrams per liter. Well, I'd love to chatter on, but since I've run out of time, this is the end of my video. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you've enjoyed it.